I'm not going to take responsibility for the credit card bills that any of you are going to have from doing that. Mine is horrid.
Welcome, Deb, to the SilverSilk channel. It's so good to have you here, and I'm excited to have this adventure with you in the 10 jewelry making mantras to live by. Do you kind of want to talk about what that means to you and how it can be interpreted to our guests?
I've been making jewelry, I don't know, 13-ish years, and there are still times I come in here into my studio and just kind of look around, touch things, and something, just doesn't come to me some days. And sometimes that can be multiple days, and you have to sort of find some way to jumpstart, kickstart that next thing that you're going to create. And so these mantras to me are things that I do, things that I try to live by, ways that I spark creativity and put something together when sometimes it's a little tough to do that.
Absolutely. I think we all go through creative blocks and or just needing some sort of a challenge to like kind of get us out of a rut.
Yeah.
And so I it was great to be able to work with you and to basically design this concept of ways that you can get out of a rut.
Yeah, I actually took a little bit of time to think it through because it does just sort of come natural, like, oh, well, now, in my head, I'm going to put these things together, but you don't really consciously think about a list of things. And so I did create a list, had a little piece of paper next to my workspace and just started jotting down the things that I do. The mixed metal concept that you'll see in one of the later mantras, some of the finishing techniques. I do it, but I don't always consciously think about it. So the first mantra is all about artisans. So using artisan pieces. So first of all, total disclaimer, there's nothing wrong with big box store beads, big box store components. There's tons of online jewelry sellers, jewelry making component sellers. All of that is wonderful. We have to have all of that. But artisan pieces are truly a way to make a one-of-a-kind design. And I think what's really inspiring to me is to know that some of these artisans feed their families with the pieces that they make, and they pour their heart and soul into making these. So whether it's beads or pendants or some other kind of jewelry component, finding those artisan components to mix in with your other pieces and parts will really give you sort of a little bit of inspiration just to know that it came from somebody who really put a lot into it. The first mantra is all about, when you read the blog, go shopping. Like, get out there, Facebook, the World Wide Web, just get out there and look up artisan beads, lampwork beads, enameled components, pewter components, and you'll find a myriad of things to work with and use. I'm not going to take responsibility for the credit card bills that any of you are going to have from doing that. Mine is horrid. But just finding the pieces, even if you don't have something in mind when you see it, when you get it and you're able to hold it in your hand, you'll see a design start to come to light. At least that's what it does for me.
Let's get to some crafting because I've got some really cool components from Saki Silver, and I think you had picked out some components in your inventory as well. And we wanted to just fashion something quick and easy and take on this challenge.
Yes. This is the mantra number 1 piece that you'll find in the blog. This piece is called the Artisan Amazing Bracelet. And of course, there is the lovely SilverSilk, the capture chain here in this amazing color. This is the artisan component that was used. And this is an enameled metal piece by Anne Gardan. I picked this up at a bead show from Anne directly, fell in love with it. And when I picked it up, I immediately saw this bracelet, which was just simply stringing the capture chain through that filigree. And, you know, it makes for a really nice bracelet focal. Something else you can do with an artisan component is create a very, very simple design. So I have this SilverSilk capture chain in forest. And being a green-eyed lady, Nealay, this color just sings to me. And I have a Green Girls Studios pendant here. And this is a moon face, a full moon pendant. So you see the lovely facial expression of this moon. The back is also textured. And if you aren't familiar with Green Girl Studios, they make pewter, mostly pewter pendants and charms, all kinds of wonderful components, whimsical and lovely artisan pieces. They are amazing. The link is in the blog for you to go out and check them out. So I'm just going to make a very simple necklace. So all I need to do is attach this lovely pendant to this capture chain. I'm going to use a really big, chunky, it's a rope style jump ring, and I'm going to use it kind of like a bail. So I'm going to take my pliers. Oops. I'm going to take my pliers and I'm just going to close that up, get a nice finished tight fit, making sure it's flush. And now I have a pendant on a bail. Then I'm simply going to string that onto the capture chain. So it looks really, really beautiful, just simple, bright pewter pendant and this gorgeous green capture chain. And then what I want to do is cut this to the length that I need. I am going to attach my ends now. And the end caps that you have, Nealay, are just super wonderful quality. So the capture chain is actually, I think this is the gunmetal on the inside. So I picked gunmetal ends here.
Perfect way to go.
That guy in there. And then I'm going to use my pliers to press that down. And I do see a tiny little end sticking out. So I'm going to snip that off. And this guy in. Here's another little thing I like to do with closures. So I've got half of a toggle and a lobster claw. And I like the idea of, especially when you may have trouble closing a necklace behind you, having a larger place for you to click your lobster claw in sometimes is helpful. I know it is for me, so I like to use sometimes a little bit of a toggle. And this is a small one, so it's not terribly obtrusive. I'm going to grab a jump ring. I'm going to take that jump ring. I'm going to attach it to the end cap. Close that down. All right, so I've got my I've got my lobster claw. So I'm going to attach my toggle end here. Get my jump ring flush there. And then I've got a big loop to attach with my lobster claw. And check out this pretty design with this lovely Green Girl Studio moon. Um, I love this. This can be worn on its own or it could be layered with something else. Easy, simple, and you know that old saying or the book, "I love you to the moon and back." I think there's a song like that as well. Um, Maybe that's the story you want to share with somebody. So you can use this lovely moon charm.
Deb, that was beautiful. I love the simplicity of the design because the pendant is doing most of the talking in that lovely piece. And you took the challenge head on, made something that is completely wearable, gorgeous, and has a story. Yes, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so I have to take the challenge now, right?
Yes. What are you going to do?
All right, what am I going to do? I picked up some findings from Sake Silver.
Beautiful.
And I just love these. They remind me of, and they're bronze casts, but I just feel like there's such fluidity in her design work. Liz is the owner and designer for these end caps and many other findings. But this particular set had a very like fluid, watery sort of feel to it. I wanted to combine it with some braided silver silk, and I wanted to use this color called Storm, which is a very watery color since it's blue. And so I thought these would be a perfect fit for these cones. And so what I was going to do is show you how to put it together and put the cone at the end. I went ahead and pre-braided my entire strand of silver silk. I wanted a very thick chain, and combining several chains together in a braided format seemed to fulfill that. And especially for the size of the cone that I'm putting it in, I wanted to be, have a very robust chain. And then I'm using some black 20 gauge wire that I actually just strung right through the cords. As you can see, I went a couple of the beads below where my chain ends. And what I'm going to do is just flip one of the wires straight up into a 90-degree angle. And then I'm just going to kind of stack these chains together so that I could start to wrap my wire around the end like that. And then I can go back through and just trim off the extra wire. Okay, and then I can use my chain nose pliers to kind of just tuck that end in. It could still be a messy wrap, no big deal, because we just want it to be very secure though, above all else, because everything else is going to be hidden inside of the cone. I have this little pearl that kind of matches and complements the chain, so I'm just gonna use that, and I'm gonna do a quick little wire wrap loop here at the top. And before securing my loop, I can definitely include one of my toggle half clasps in there with it before I secure it. Okay, so let's do the sky. Okay, there we go. And now I can just close up that loop. Okay, and then you can just kind of tuck in this end with a pair of chain nose pliers. Okay, so I got one half of my toggle ready to go, and then I went ahead and kind of wire wrapped my other end as well. I have conquered this challenge. You know, it just goes to show you that these challenges don't have to be extravagant. You can do something simple. You're able to make something out of nothing because you were inspired by someone's artisan work.
Just a little
Just a
piece,
little, just takes a little bit.
just a little piece, and it's one of a kind. No one's going to have that necklace you have in your hand. No one's going to have this necklace I have.
The fact that we both made this together. So now I'm going to look back on this piece and say, oh, I made this with Deb Floros. We weren't in the same room, but we got to create together, and that's very special. So you start to create these stories as well with your experience in this making. I have enjoyed this challenge, and I hope some of our friends out there will do the same and create a design of their own with their artisan picked out pieces as well.